Hey, so listen, today, what we're diving into is cracking the high performance code. What am I talking about? You're going to see. But first, what we're going to get into a little bit is why is it that goals and visions and dreams and New Year's resolutions and all of those kinds of things rarely, and when I say rarely, I mean probably less than 10%. There's actually some studies that have been done on it. I'm guessing it's actually probably around 5%. About 5% of the time is all that those actually get achieved by people when they set them. New Year's resolutions, we all know it's a big joke, right? About how often people set New Year's resolutions and then 2 weeks into the new year, they've dropped them, or 3 weeks into the new year, they've dropped them. Or people set goals, and some people say, share your goals so that other people can help hold you accountable. Other people say, don't share your goals because then it's as if your brain thinks you've already done it and you get dopamine from sharing them just because they're exciting. And so there's a whole lot of talk around how to achieve them, why they're not achieved, etc. And today we're going to dive into that a little bit. And it's essential when I'm talking about cracking the high performance code. This whole goal setting, vision setting, dream casting, etc., forecasting. Why is it that the vast majority of people, including myself, there have been plenty of times when I've set them and I haven't achieved them. So why is that? Why is that? We're going to dive into that deeper today. I'm Angela W. Stillwell. I am the founder and CEO of Untapped Strengths. And I actually work with individuals to transform them into the top 1% leaders. And I work with teams, departments, and sometimes entire organizations to transform them into powerhouses. We do that a lot of different ways. We do that via soft skills training. We do that via personality assessments. Look, I have been fortunate to speak on the stages of Fortune 500 companies. I've spoken and done training at those organizations and also at organizations that have been in the news a lot over the last few years, given everything that happened with the pandemic and all of that. So, I have a lot of experience in this, but where my real experience comes in is in the work that I've done on myself to be able to actually make sure that I'm doing and having in place what's needed to set goals that are appropriate for me, not something that someone else says I should be doing, and then be able to do the work to get there. Okay. Listen, our subconscious brains, and you guys are going to hear me talk about this over the next 3 days. And this workshop is a 3-day workshop. If you sign up, you can see on the screen just below my name, you'll see the name of the company, and then you'll see a link, Linktree. So it's linktr.ee/AW Stillwell. If you sign up there for this workshop, you're going to get some bonus material and a bonus session at the end of this week that'll be via Zoom, where we'll get to do some interaction. So sign up, make sure that you're getting the updates on what's happening and you get access to the bonuses. So anyway, all right, let's dive into today. I want to take you through an exercise. Oftentimes it's referred to as the Wheel of Life. If you've ever been to a Tony Robbins event, or if you've ever worked with a coach, or if you've ever just read a book, a lot of people speak to this particular tool. And I want you to have access to this. We're going to do a smaller version of it, a shortened version of it today. And I want you to really take the time to answer these questions because this is key. Listen, when I was, I grew up in an incredibly dysfunctional environment, and there were a lot of stories and things that were true, right? That happened in my life that helped build what my beliefs and my meaning about certain scenarios, about myself, about where I should be, what I should be able to accomplish in life, et cetera. The whole lot of shoulds, right? And perfectionism was something that I used to overcome the dysfunctional childhood. And I didn't realize how negatively that had impacted me until I was going through my divorce in 2011, 12, and 13. Okay. And what I found out as I went through my divorce was that those things from childhood had deeply impacted me. And I was still operating as if so much of those things from childhood were still happening. Now, it wasn't that I was doing it intentionally. It's that's the way our brains work. And I'll get into more of that, but I want you to understand the exercises that we're going to be doing today and tomorrow and Wednesday. And as we dig deeper into this, it's all about what's happening within your brain and how you then translate that into real world scenarios and situations. Okay. So, first of all, let's get back to the wheel of life. We're going to do sometimes when I work with clients, I do as many as 10 different segments on the wheel of life for people to measure themselves. And then we dig in from there. Today, I'm only going to do 5 sections. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to um, uh, give yourself a grade of 1 to 10. 1 is going to be the absolute worst it could possibly be. Like, it can't get any worse than it is. Okay. That's what 1 means. 10, it can't get any better. Like, it is freaking amazing. And it will always be this way. There is no room for growth at all. Okay. All right, so let's dive in. Let's dive in. Here are the 5 areas that I want you to measure yourself in. The first one is wealth. What do I mean by wealth? There are lots of different definitions in the world about wealth and what that looks like, and I have my own definitions, but for today, we're going to look at wealth as a whole, right? Normally, I separate out finances, but we're going to include finances in wealth today. So, what does your wealth look like? How would you measure your wealth on a scale of 1 to 10? Where you are right now, how would you measure yourself? 1 to 10, anywhere in between. Again, 1 in the wealth scenario, maybe you've lost everything and you're living out of your home. Look, I've known so many people that this has happened to over the years. And having so many entrepreneurial friends, look, we're risk takers. We put ourselves out there. We find ourselves in situations, and sometimes the result is not so good, right? And it can be overcome. But let's figure out where you are right now. How are you measuring yourself today from a wealth standpoint? Include your finances, include whatever definition you want to give to wealth today. And I want you to be really curious about a couple of things as we go through this exercise. I want you to hear what you're saying to yourself about where you are. Okay. Look, this is where the intimate part of these exercises comes in. This is where the differentiator is. I want you to get really aware of what you're saying to yourself. So maybe you scored a 3 for yourself. Maybe you said, you know what? I'm only a 3 out of 10. I haven't built retirement the way I wanted to build it. My savings sucks. I'm not making the kind of money I want to be making, or maybe I don't even have a job right now. Okay. I want you to hear everything that you're saying about yourself and the meaning that you're giving to whatever number you've given. So if it's a great number, what are you saying? And if it's a great number, are there any fears that are showing up? Good or bad number, right? Are there any fears that are showing up? What are those fears saying? You know, I'm doing really well right now, but I could lose it. I could lose it all. I could lose it all in a split second. And, you know, that's just the way it is for me. I tend to build things up and then I burn them down. Okay. Get aware of that. I want you to jot that down. Okay. I'll give you just a second to do that. Think about, what is it that you're saying to yourself? What are you saying about yourself? What is the meaning that you're giving it? All of those things, whatever the score was that you gave yourself in the area of wealth. Okay. The second area that I want you to look at is your health. And when I'm saying health right now, I mean physical health, your mental health. When's the last time that you had a physical done so that you can actually measure where you are? I recently did a testing and had, good Lord, I don't know how many blood tests run to measure everything so that I'm like, okay, here's my baseline right now. Here's where I am. Where do I want to go from here? Okay. How's your health? How are you feeling? What's your energy level? Do you wake up tired? Do you feel tired all day long? Do you eat food and then you crash? I mean, like, what's going on with your health? Mentally, are you in a state of fog the vast majority of the time? Are you happy? Are you positive? Are you negative? Are you flatlining? Like, what does that look like for you mentally and physically? Okay. All right. So you can even include emotionally if you'd like to in this. Now, again, what is it that you're saying about yourself and about your health? Man, I am so overweight. Just look at me. I'm a slug. I can't stick with a diet. I can't stick with an exercise program. And those are whole other things that I could dive into on diet and that sort of thing, because I'm not a believer in that. But I'm a believer in a way of eating, not diet. There's the word die in the word diet. So how's your health? 1 to 10, anywhere in between. What are you saying about yourself regarding your health, mentally, emotionally, physically? What's going on with your health? What are you saying about it? What are you making it mean? What are the fears that are showing up around your health? Are you doing things fearful of what might happen in the future? Are you doing things fearful of what has happened in the past? Okay. All right. So that's health. Relationships. Normally, I separate out the different types of relationships. We're just going to give ourselves one big score today. Okay. So I want you to think about your intimate relationships, your family relationships, your friends, your community. Maybe it's coworkers. What are your relationships like? Man, everybody around me sucks. I can't have a friend that has ever been loyal. My spouse sucks. They cheat on me. I deserve everything. What's coming up for you? Okay. Or all of my relationships are great. My relationships are just okay. My relationships are good. What's the number you're giving yourself around that? And again, what are you saying about yourself, about others, about your relationships? What meaning are you giving to the number that you scored yourself? How are you operating? Are you operating from fear, or are you operating from optimism? Where are you operating from? I want you to get really intimate with these thoughts that you're having around these various areas of your life. Okay. All right. The fourth one, career. Maybe you're an entrepreneur. Maybe you're an executive. Maybe you're a manager. Maybe you're a salesperson, whatever that looks like for you, your career. What's the number that you're going to give yourself? 1 to 10. 1, my career sucks. It's awful. I hate it. I don't want to get up and go do the work that I am making money doing. Or it's the best it has ever been. I can't imagine it being any better. Man, life is fantastic. What does that look like for you? What is the meaning you're giving it? What are you making it mean about you? What are you saying about yourself? Are you operating from fear? Are you operating from optimism? Think about what's going on when you score yourself, okay, from a career standpoint. And then spirituality. We're going to put that in a separate one. Whether you're a God person like I am, or Buddhist, or whatever it is for you, or even agnostic, right? I mean, what's your spirituality like? Do you have a good sense of it? Do you feel good about it? Do you have the relationship with your spirituality that you really want to have? Is there room for growth? Do you not have a relationship from a spirituality standpoint? What does that look like for you? What do you say about yourself? If you are a God person, Do you beat yourself up? Do you say you're awful and you don't deserve? Right? I want you to get intimate with what you're saying about you in the spirituality standpoint. Get intimate with what you're saying about you from a career standpoint, from a relationship standpoint, from a health standpoint, from a wealth standpoint. Okay. So, this is the first step. People who actually achieve, they start really listening to these things. Now, there are steps that you take beyond just the listening, and we're going to get into some of that. And what I want to do for a little bit today is ask you a few additional questions to help you dig a little deeper into this. And I've got them on my phone right here. So I'm going to look off camera a bit. I want to share these with you. And I want you to think about them. Today is all about really understanding what is your mindset around this whole thing with goal setting. Do you think goal setting is stupid? It never works. Okay. That's something else that you're saying to yourself, about the situation. Make a note of it. Okay. Anything that comes up like that, as I'm talking today, make a note of it. Or as you are going back and reviewing your notes from today, make a note of it. Because these are going to be important building stones, foundational stones for the next steps that we do over the next couple of days. Okay. And again, the link to sign up for the bonuses around this, there's going to be a bonus call or two after these 3 days. So make sure that you get signed up. It's right under my name. You can see it just beyond the business name, Untapped Strengths. It's Linktree /AW Stillwell, linktr.ee/AW Stillwell. And you can find the link right there, cracking the high performance code, to get signed up, to get additional information about what we're doing in this workshop so that you can get the bonuses, right? So if you don't get signed up, you won't get access to those. There's going to be some cool stuff. We're going to do some coaching and some hot seating and some additional training at the end of the week after this 3-day series is over. So we're going today, tomorrow, and Thursday. All right, so let's get to those questions I wanted to share with you to get you thinking a little deeper in all of these areas that we've just measured yourself in, right? Wealth, health, relationships, career, and spirituality. And the first question is, what phase are you in right now? Where are you right now? What's going on in your life? And what is this teaching you? Are there any lessons? Is it giving you additional? Is it making you feel better about yourself? Is it making you feel worse about yourself? Where are you right now? What does that phase look like? What are you unlearning? Are you unlearning, or are you just trying to pile on top of? Okay. What has brought you the most joy in this phase? What's brought you the most heartache in this phase? All super important questions. Really dig deep. Where are you right now? And what is it doing for you? What are you getting out of this? One of the things, I've been to all of the Tony Robbins events that he has at least once. And I've been part of the leadership team for his events as well. And one of the first things that I really learned from Tony is to really look at, people are often saying, why is this happening to me? The phase that you're in right now, how is it happening for you? What are the lessons you're getting from it? Okay. Think about that. Right. The next question, what are you holding on to that is limiting you? I know people are always like, what are you talking about? I don't limit myself. Other people are limiting me. Okay, well, that's the first thought. That's the first thought I want you to capture. Write that down. Other people are limiting me. Other people make me mad. Other people keep me from doing blah, 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 right? Write that down. Write that down. If that's something that comes up for you, write it down. If you find yourself saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe so-and-so did that. That made me so angry. Understand something. It didn't make you angry. It's based on you got angry. You chose to get angry. It may have happened in a microsecond or a millisecond. However, the way that the brain works, there's actually a thought before the feeling and then the decision. Okay. And then you take action. There's anger and then there's a result, right? So, where are you creating this toxicity? What are you talking about? I don't create the toxicity in my life. So and so creates that. It's their way of being that's causing this. Okay. Wheel that in. Wheel that in. I want you to reel that back in and think about, where is it that you might be creating some of this? Okay. And then what positive thoughts about yourself can you focus on? All right. How have you cared and nourished yourself? People all over the world these days talk about self-care. What are you doing from a self-care standpoint? What are you doing to nourish yourself? I'm not talking about just food nourishing you or water. What are you doing for yourself? Maybe attending this is part of self-care, because you know that there is room for you to grow. You know that you haven't been achieving at the level that you are capable and you're trying to figure it out. Guess what? Then this is nourishing you. This is part of your growth plan. Congratulations on showing up and doing this for yourself. All right. How can you tend to yourself with more compassion? Are you taking care of your needs and your desires? Do I say yes when I should say no? I've been guilty of that. Still guilty of it sometimes. Not very often. I get a lot of people go, wait, you just told me no. Yes, I did. Yes, indeed I did. And there's a reason for that. It's not healthy for me. It's probably not healthy for you either. If I'm telling you no to something that you're requesting, then there's a lesson in it. Okay. All right. How can I love myself more today? People get frustrated when I start talking about loving myself more. They're like, what are you talking about? How do you love yourself more? Okay, look, love others as we love ourselves. Do unto others as we would have others do unto us. You know, these have been things that have been said since the beginning of time. How do you love anyone else if you're not loving yourself? So how do you get to love yourself more? And look, I get it. I mean, there are times when the fear and loathing of our lives or our situations or our past can just overwhelm us. I've been there. I've been there. I've been there more than probably my fair share, given the way that I grew up. And recognizing when that's happening is paramount to being able to get beyond it. Okay. And am I practicing self-care enough? Right? Is there more? One of the things that I often say to my clients, and I've said it speaking on stage and in workshops and things too. Self-care, people talk about keep your cup full, right? Keep your cup full. And I like to say, don't just keep your cup full, keep it overflowing. Don't serve people from your own cup. Don't do that. Anytime you serve people from your own cup, you're depleting what's in your cup, which means you're depleted. You're not serving at 100%. Okay. Keep your cup overflowing. Serve others from your saucer. A little cup and saucer, teacup and saucer, or coffee cup and saucer. Serve from your saucer. Keep your cup full enough so that it's overflowing and you can serve from your saucer. All right. What mindsets are you pursuing? Listen, this is key to this cracking the high performance code. And there are a lot of people who say they're mindset coaches and they, spend all the time in positivity and, just helping identify thoughts. And there's more to it. There's more to it. We're going to get into that. And I'm actually already seeding some of that. So when I talk about being aware of your thoughts, I want you to be aware of those thoughts. And then it's not just about going, okay, well, I get to think positively about this. There's a process. The first thing is, what are you saying about yourself? And then I want you to think, is that true? Is it true? Is that what other people think about you? Is that what other people see in you? And if you heard someone else saying that about themselves, what would you say to them? If you're saying, I don't deserve, or I'm not worthy, or, I'm not loved, I'm not valuable enough. If you heard someone else saying those things, what would you say to that other person? You wouldn't let them sit in that place. You see the value in other people, and other people see the value in you. I see the value in you. It's part of what I do. I stand in that gap for my clients and help them until they can stand in that gap for themselves. All right. So what mindsets are you pursuing? It's not just about being positive. There's a process. You get to write new neural pathways, getting all into the science. Your subconscious brain runs on the stories and the beliefs and the meanings that you've given based on historical evidence, the lens through which you see everything, because of parents, because of religion, because of schools, because of partners, because of all sorts of things. Okay. So we get to start being more aware of that, right? So what positive thoughts about myself can I focus on? Where does this thought come from? Did you maybe raise your hand one time in school and have a teacher that humiliated you in front of the class? And so you chose never to use your voice again? That happens a lot. Happens a lot. Where does the thought come from? So if there is a thought that's like that, or any other thought that you have going on, any fear that you have, any fear of judgment, anything like that you have, I want you to think back. When was the first time that I felt that? When was the first time that I experienced that? Okay, these are going to be key to our next steps. What can I learn from this thought? What belief is attached to this thought? How long have I had this belief? Where does this belief come from, right? Here's a good one. How has this belief served its entire purpose? Oof. Yeah. Has it served its entire purpose? See, when I was going through my divorce, and then after getting divorced, and then I decided to take 2 years out. I wasn't going to change anything in my life. I wasn't going to move. I wasn't going to date. I wasn't going to do anything. I needed to work on me. And as I did that, it was, okay, what did I do right? What did I do wrong in all of this? And how is it impacting me with the relationships that I have now and the relationships that I want to have in the future? What's the impact of that? What's the impact of what I've been saying about myself based on historical events? Look, those events don't exist anymore. You can't touch them. You can't grab them. You can't pull them to here. So why do we still operate from that? We do that because that's the way our brains work. Our brains are wired for survival. Our brains are wired to keep us safe. They're not wired for us to thrive. I'm not going to get into all of the nitty-gritty science stuff behind it right now. Just know that our brains are wired for survival and safety. They're not wired for success and adventure. Those are totally different things. Okay. All right. Now, can I let the thought and belief go? Can you? You can. You have to choose to, though. Okay. So, are you ready to? Right? All right. What kinds of thoughts am I nursing? What is my mind geared on? What direction am I heading to with this stance of my mindset? It drives me crazy when people say, I just go with the flow. No, don't just go with the flow. And if you've ever heard me talk before, you've probably heard me say this. Going with the flow, think about a river. It flows, right? What goes with the flow of the river? Do fish just go with the flow, or do they sometimes swim across the current? Do they sometimes swim up current? The only fish that always go with the flow are dead fish. Are you a dead fish? Other things that just always go with the flow are dead sticks. Are you a dead stick? No, you're not. Don't go with the flow just to go with the flow to think that it's going to make your life easier. It doesn't. It doesn't. Status quo does not make your life easier. Status quo is like a stagnant pool of water. Nothing good comes from a stagnant pool of water. There's disease and mosquitoes and all kinds of nasty stuff, right? Status quo doesn't exist. It doesn't. So, are you exercising your mental strength and authority by preserving these thoughts? Is it a progressive thought that I'm having? What can I be grateful for and positive about right now? Do you have a gratitude practice? What are you holding on to that you need to let go of? Look, as I started doing this work, I realized I had so many things that I held on to. I held on to, man, I'm getting choked up. I wasn't expecting that. I held on to this belief that I wasn't worthy. I held on to this belief that I wasn't valuable, that I had nothing to give to the world. And I allowed that to impact me. Now, if you had have seen me as a little kid, or if you had have heard me talking, you would have never known that those were the things that were driving me. But those were the thoughts that were driving me showing up as a perfectionist. And perfectionism is just a reflection of feeling unworthy. Perfectionism is just a reflection of feeling invaluable, of feeling unvaluable, or not having value, whatever the word is. Invaluable would mean having lots of value, right? Not being valuable. Perfectionism is not a positive. So if you're showing up as a perfectionist, what is that reflecting in your life? What is that reflecting in your life? Maybe it's not perfectionism. Maybe it's something else. What is that reflecting in your life? What are the old historical events and stories and beliefs that have you showing up that way right now? Are those things still serving you? What do you want to add and what do you want to release? What do you want to add and what do you want to release from your thoughts and your life in these 5 areas that we've been talking about today? Wealth, finances, health, relationships, career, spirituality. And here's the biggest question. Are you ready to heal or release these things, these thoughts, these beliefs? Are you ready? Do you want to? Do you actually want to? And you may say that you want to, because that sounds like the right thing, but are you ready? What are you benefiting from holding on to it? I ask clients this question and they're like, what are you talking about? I'm not benefiting anything from this. It's horrible to have these things going on in my life, to have these thoughts driving me. It may be horrible, and you still have them because there's a benefit. It may be that you're holding on to it because people have looked at you as being a martyr for surviving. Maybe you get support because people, hug you and cuddle you and tell you, oh my gosh, it's so horrible what you went through. Because guess what that does? When people say those things, it causes positive neurochemicals in your body to start just cascading everywhere. You get dopamine, you get oxytocin from those hugs. You get all these feel-good hormones because people are reinforcing it. You get love from the negative thoughts. So, is that where you really want to get it? Is that really where you want to get your good neurochemicals from the negative thoughts? Probably not. What if you could create a way to have positive thoughts? What if you could create a way to have positive chemical reactions? You can. And what we're talking about today is recognizing what has been causing it to come from negative places up to this point. And listen to me, when I talk about cracking the high performance code, this is critical. What we're getting into today is critical. This is no joke. This is critical to being able to be a high performer. You get to get intimate. You get to get in and dirty and really recognize all of this, because here is where the transformation starts. Okay. All right. Did I have any? Nope. Those are all the questions. So what's coming up for you? What questions do you have? You can put them in the comments, or you can send me a DM. Let me know what questions you have. Tomorrow, we're going to hop back on and do the next part of cracking the high performance code. This piece today can be heavy. It can be light. You get to choose. What's the meaning you're giving it? Now, listen, as you're doing this, you may have some emotions come up. Here's what I don't want you to do. If you do have emotions coming up, do not stuff them. That's probably been your method of operation, your mode of operation up to this point. And guess what happens when you stuff those emotions? They just keep coming back. They just keep coming back over and over and over and impacting your life over and over and over. And you think that you are standing above it and just stuffing them down. Guess what? You're standing on top of this nastiness. You're standing on top of this negativity. You're standing on top of these emotions that are not positive. Is that really what you want your foundation to be? No, you don't. Look, I was the queen. I stood on stage and told people that I was a master wall builder. That's how I described myself, as the way that I was before I started doing this work, a master wall builder. I was a master wall builder of building walls around myself, keeping people out, not allowing the emotions to come up. But guess what those walls also did? They kept the good out. I didn't develop the relationships that I wanted because I had those walls in place, right? So what walls are you putting up? What walls have you been putting up? Understand something. All of this impacts your goal setting, your dreams, your vision, your accomplishments, how you excel or not in life. And you may have had success up to this point. I had success. It wasn't meaningful though, and it wasn't fulfilling, and it wasn't at the level that it is now, because I wasn't authentic. I was basing my goals and my dreams and my visions on falsehoods. I was basing them on things that other people had said about me or to me. I was basing it on meanings that weren't true. So go back through your notes from today and really dig into what came up for you. And tomorrow we'll get into the next step. Okay. All right. I can't wait to hear from you. I can't wait to get your feedback. Send direct messages or leave it in the comments. This is being broadcast across several different places. This is in a couple of places on Facebook. It's on LinkedIn. It's on YouTube, and I can't remember where else. So I will go and I will check all of those places in the DMs and all of these places and see, what you guys have coming up for you. All right. And I can't wait to see you tomorrow, same time, noon Eastern, on each of these broadcast channels. I'll see you here. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Was today Tuesday? Have a great remainder of your Tuesday, and I will see you tomorrow. And I look forward to seeing you in the comments and in my DMs. All right. Ciao.